get started. Okay. And any assistance our BGIS team can help, that would be great. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining Tomorrow Matters and our Earth Day celebration.
Hey Google, turn the radio off.
Sorry? Hi, did someone have a comment? No? Okay, I'll continue. Hi everyone, thank you for attending Tomorrow Matters and our Earth Day celebration. As you can see, Earth Day is today, and we want to commemorate that with our Tomorrow Matters program as we expand the program. And here you see the theme of our Tomorrow Matters is our turtle. And if you can see that person swimming there, that's me actually in the Galapagos recently swimming with the turtles. What an experience. And behind me is our indigenous turtle. You can see different pieces of plastic. I know I'm a little small on here, but you can see the different pieces of plastics on the turtle shell. This was designed by an indigenous design studio, Sky Story, out of Sudbury as well. So a great logo to help us move Tomorrow Matters program. So if you don't know what Tomorrow Matters is, it's so closely linked to Earth Day. So we think this is so important as well. So I'm going to start. And first of all, I'd like to acknowledge, do a quick land acknowledgement. Again, I'm calling from just north of Toronto, Keswick, Ontario. My name is Julie Matthews. I'm the Director of Tenant Communications for BGIS, supporting PSBC and a lot of their initiatives, including the sustainability and some of the Indigenous initiatives as well. So I'd like to acknowledge my close neighbors, the Chippewas of Georgina. They're the protectors of the lands and water, and that water being Lake Simcoe, Ontario. So I'd like to commemorate that by acknowledging my close Indigenous neighbors. So Tomorrow Matters. So what is Tomorrow Matters? Tomorrow Matters is our new program. It's an occupant engagement program. We launched with 6 buildings in 2019. And as of April 1st, we have expanded to 50 buildings across Canada. Now, the list is not hugely important, but many of you have been invited because you've either participated previously with Tomorrow Matters or your building has been added. And what you'll see with those 50 buildings, you'll see additional signage. I have some samples of what that looks like around, better recycling, getting involved, sharing your stories. We want to hear from you. So as we expand to the 50 buildings, as of April 1st, does that mean we're going to stop at that 50? No, this program is open to all Government of Canada employees, RP1, non-RP1. The signage went into RP1 buildings, but it is open to anyone. You can go in as long as you're a Government of Canada employee, access the system, share your stories. This is sort of supposed to be like your Facebook for greening. We've spent a lot of time enhancing the tool as well over the last year. We launched the first version of the tool last year around this time. So this is important for us to kind of, expand the program, get folks involved, and we thought Earth Day was such a great launch for it. So many of the team members, BGIS team members on the call, have received their posters. They're putting them up. You may or may not have seen it. There were some delays in some of the posters, and some of it includes information on the Tomorrow Matters application, which was developed in Canada on behalf of PSBC. This is just a Government of Canada application for this specific purpose. It was built for this purpose by a Canadian company, etc. So we want to, improve waste diversion. We want to improve interaction. So this is so important to us, and the ability to tell our stories, to communicate with each other. And this is a really economical way of doing that. It's one tool. It doesn't matter how many buildings are on the tool, etc. We've got it funded for at least the next year, 2 years. So we want to make sure that we utilize the tool to communicate with each other. You can go in there and create activities, create challenges, just post news like Facebook. But go on there, and we've also included our newsletter that was recently sent out. There is a link. I have also included a French copy of the presentation in the chat. You should be able to see it, which has all the links as well. And you can also included there is an English copy of the presentation. So Earth Day is important, you know, and it goes hand in hand. And it was such a good opportunity for us to reflect on what the work we've done, what we need to do, hear from you, some of the tenants, hear from the property team as well. And really, it's about raising awareness for this initiative. Earth Day is a great opportunity to encourage action. Whether you're part of a green team, we want to hear from you as well. Whether you're enthusiastically green in your building, we want to hear from you. We want to know, you know, what opportunities there are. For example, this morning I met with EcoGAT around some of their greening of their menu items with a cafeteria services provider and how we could incorporate that into our communications. So we want to hear from you, as well as Pure Paint, who will be finalizing the presentation at the tail end of this. They were a recommendation from EcoGAT, Canadian innovation, Pure Paint, you know, and you'll hear more about it. I can't represent it as well as Gina will, but she will be talking to you about that as well. We want to encourage action. We want to showcase innovation like Pure Paint. This is one of many innovations that we collectively, we PSBC tenants as well, you know, have integrated into the buildings. We want to celebrate our successes as well, and we want to turn awareness into real impact. We need to make a difference in the buildings. We need to improve our diversion rates. What's included in organics? What's the waste audit results telling us? And Tomorrow Matters has all of that information as well. So I'm going to just do a little video. We made this video for Tomorrow Matters, and you should hear the sound around that and a video. Can you hear the sound? Perfect. So occupant engagement, we started the pilot in 2019 with 6 buildings, and now it's across 50 buildings, and we continue to want to expand. So the objectives was to really support greening government, foster a sustainable culture at work and at home. So we're giving tips and tricks for home as well as within the building. Improve awareness and understanding of how action impacts items in your building or at home, and learn from the pilot and grow. So we sort of completed the 6 building pilot. Now we're expanding, and really there are 3 themes: say no to plastics, sort your waste, and don't contaminate. Really, our contamination rates are quite high. I think when we were pretty good pre-pandemic, we came back into the buildings. We're better understanding where the contamination is happening, and we need to improve those. So you'll see a lot of our signage focus on contamination and reducing that contamination, sorting your waste better, and saying no to plastics. Now, plastics is a major initiative for this because we want to reduce our reliance on plastics as well. So this is a BGIS PSBC application developed with a lot of interaction over the last 4 to 5 years. We want to improve it. We need your help. We need your participation. We rely on not only the tenants, but our BGIS folks in the building to participate. So BGIS folks on the line, you can also participate. Post what you're doing. Post a picture. Post your innovation. I know there's lots of activities happening in our buildings, and I'm just not aware. So we want your participation to go online, participate, and let people know what you're doing. And it's really around education, helping folks understand, where we can make a difference. So we need to make those changes collectively. You know how they say it takes a village to raise a child? Well, it takes a village to make a difference. So our online app, you can go to tomorrowmatters.ca. We had some technical difficulties, which we fixed over the last week, but you should be able to go on there, register. You will get an email. There's also a link, and if you look on the presentations attached, you can get that as well. The link to the online guide is there as well. So go on to Tomorrow Matters. There are several tabs. There's a tab for plastics. There's a tab for sorting your waste. There's a tab for challenges. There is also a news tab, and there is a newly added building tabs. In there, you'll see each of the 50 buildings. As I need to add buildings, I can add them. But you'll see a waste profile for each of those buildings to start with, and we will be posting additional information specific to that building. So again, get connected. Here's a QR code. You will see some posters, etc., that show that QR code. People can take a picture of the QR code, sign in. Got a lot of feedback saying, what is this app? Is it a Canada app? I don't want to sign up because I'm not sure what it is. It is an approved Canadian Government of Canada application for occupants. So, it's on a Canadian website. It is hosted by a Canadian company, etc. So we've done our best to make sure it is a Canadian-made solution. So share uplifting news on the news page. Learn more about sustainability initiatives in your building and join an existing team. Create your own challenge. You can create a team as well. Again, you'll see here there's a guide for an online guide to help you out as well. Here's some of the signage. You'll see a pop-up banner that just shows you access to the app itself, as well as signage that went into the recycling centers. If you don't have these exact recycling centers, the posters are a little smaller, but it's focused on reducing waste, organics if you have organics in your building, saying no to plastics, sorting your waste, and believe it or not, one of the biggest contaminations is paper towel. Now, if we could solve the paper towel problem, paper towel belongs in organics. If it has organic material, if you don't have organics, it does not belong in plastics or recycling. It belongs in the waste bin. So that's just an example of where we see the biggest contamination. And food in plastic. So get rid of the food. So if you're putting something recyclable, like a container, make sure it's clean of food waste as well. So you'll see the posters a little bit about that. Coffee cups is the other area of making sure you don't leave the liquid in the coffee cup as well. So that's sort of our focus right now. And what we wanted to say is, during the pilot, 2019 to 2024, the original pilot, we learned a lot. We did a lot of surveys. At this point, we are not resurveying occupants at this point, but 85% of you thought that awareness will make a difference. And awareness will make a difference in your daily actions as well. And 65% learned something new during the pilot as well. And the pilot motivated action. 86% reduce their waste. So we want to really improve, you know, our recycling rates, reduce our contamination. Our target is a 75% diversion, both plastics and waste. So that's a key aspect of our program as well. So 71% during the pilot expressed belief that Tomorrow Matters would help with waste action, up to 25% waste reduction as well. So quick FAQ on the tool. So again, go to tomorrowmatters.ca, sign up, use the program. Any issues, you have my email, please let me know. You can also send an email to tomorrowmatters@bgis.com. That email comes to me. And can anyone use the app? App, yes, has been developed for the Government of Canada employees, so any Government of Canada employees. So some of you may have friends in lease sites in Ottawa, or you're not an RP1, that's fine. You can go in and use the application. Can I still join if I'm not what part of the 50? Absolutely. Is this a Canadian app? Yes, it was built in Canada, and you know, can be used, you know, is protected by Canadian requirements, hosting requirements as well. Anybody interested in looking at our pilot report? The report link is there. Unfortunately, it's just in English and has recommendations, lessons learned. If you have a green team and you're working to understand where you can improve, this is a great report for you. It's quite comprehensive and provides recommendations on moving forward. Again, our April newsletter, there's a link there. It shows you a lot of the information. It highlights Pure Paint as well, who we will be profiling at the end of this. And I'm almost at the end before I move to questions. So at this point, any questions? Again, join the app. The app gives us your email. We can communicate with you. We want to know you're interested in participating. Any questions, anything to add? I will put that open to everyone, BGIS tenants as well. No, no questions? Any stories anybody wants to share? Okay. And Gina, can you, I'm going to stop sharing. So before I do that, I'm just going to provide an overview. So introducing Pure Paint Laboratories, a Canadian innovator, 100% natural plant-based and biodegradable paints. There you go, Gina. Even better. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Gina. I can see your screen and turn it over to you. Any questions before we take it over to Gina? Perfect. It's on the right display mode. Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to meet with you today and to share a little bit about Pure Paint. Before I get started, I just want to mention that each and every one of us is part of a story that stretches all the way back through time, in that all of our ancestors, both recent and distant, shaped their worlds with natural paint. Whether it was from the very first brushstrokes or hand strokes on a cave wall or ancient temples to tribal paints, frescoes of the Renaissance, lime washing of barns, or the early milk paints that made homes here in North America feel warm and alive, and even the finger paints that we may have used as children. It's a fascinating legacy that has really colored our history. And today and tomorrow in the future, we are still part of that story. And what we choose now will shape the spaces that we live in and the legacy that we leave behind for future generations. The problem with paint. Paint is the most all paints commonly used in our living and working spaces today are the single biggest cause of dangerous microplastics globally. A staggering 49% of all microplastics in our plant and animal ecosystems came from paint. And of course, what's even more concerning is that the paint industry microplastics are one of the single most unregulated microplastics in the world. So latex and acrylic paint contain other toxic chemicals such as BPAs, PFASs, phthalates, and other hormonal and endocrine disruptors. So as you can imagine, this has very, very serious long-term consequences because these microplastics and nanoplastics don't discriminate from the largest mammal to the smallest microorganism, and not excluding plants. These microplastics are being found in every single living thing on the planet. Um, and having these toxic chemicals in them is affecting health, reproduction, wellness of not just us as humans, but also every other living thing. And of course, the paint industry is full of smoke and mirrors. So you'll see a lot of things like green labeling, green guard, eco-friendly, low VOC. It's not the VOCs that we need to be worried about. It's the non-VOC chemicals that are in these products that are extremely dangerous. And of course, this is becoming top of mind in the general public. Science has now proven that these microplastics are literally everywhere, um, and having very, very serious effects. You know, I think about how these paint microparticles enter into our environment. And as a property management firm with such strong sustainable ethos as BGIS, and with our government and other clients as well, we think about there are 500,000 painters in North America that are washing their brushes out every single day into sinks and down to drains. And our government considers paint hazardous waste, yet for some reason we're comfortable putting it in our living spaces and our work environments. And as our work environments are heated and cooled in the summer and winter, and the sun is shining on it, very similar to what happens with the plastic bag, those BPAs and phthalates are entering into our living and workspaces and are affecting us every single day. But what if I told you that there was an alternative? That there was a paint that literally began in a field full of flowers, that relied on bees to pollinate its oilseed crops, that the crops were then harvested and cold pressed for their oils, with leftovers being used for textiles or animal feed, with just a simple filtration process, and then combined with other ingredients to make a paint that's based on ancient formulas that have withstood the test of time, but performs identically or better than every other paint on the market. And that's exactly what I'm very pleased to share that Pure Paint Laboratories has done. Pure Paint is an all-natural, petroleum-free, plant-based architectural coating. The cost, quality, and performance durability matches all other current petroleum products on the market, including tintable to any color. So we are a clean tech, bio-based manufacturer that's revolutionizing the architectural paint industry. And we are North America's only fully formulated cradle-to-cradle petroleum-free paint producer, delivering those high-performance toxin-free coatings made right here in Canada. And not to mention that our product provides not only all of those benefits, but double the coverage of all other paints. Our paints are carbon neutral and biodegradable, meaning that the leftovers can be put into a compost bin, and the containers can be washed out and reused for any purpose, including even food storage if you want. So we're really tackling a major environmental issue and helping our clients achieve their own sustainability goals and creating healthier spaces for a healthier planet. We are a full-scale manufacturing facility based out of the beautiful agricultural belt of rural Nova Scotia. And we have an on-time track record for fulfillment. And we are also fully insured, so both commercially, that meets all of the standards with our retail and commercial partners. And we have just signed a contract with Lowe's USA and with Canadian Tire here in Canada. We're in talks with Home Depot, Home Hardware, and multiple other retail chains to build out our distribution network in our own beautiful country here. Our product lines range from what you would expect for an interior paint product line to other things such as stains and lacquers, chalkboard and magnetic paints. We do paints specifically for the livestock industry, for the forestry industry, and our paint is across beehives throughout all of North America. Our main product line is Origins, our Origins interior product line. And that particular product line, again, as I had mentioned earlier, can be tinted to any color. So if you have certain spaces that you're trying to color match, we can certainly achieve that for you very easily. And we have all of the technical data sheets that any of you or your painters or customers or clients would need to evaluate the product for the different sheens, such as primer, matte, velour, and satin finishes. And we also meet all of the specifications that the government and industry requires. I won't talk too much about this other than to say that the paint industry is really dominated by the big multinational companies, the names that we're used to, the Sherwin-Williams, the PPGs, the Benmores, and then about a 10% fragmented market made up of maybe some clay paints or lime paints or just other companies that have created a label and are reselling the multinational products. So our competition is really not focused on sustainability. There's this idea of sustainability involves things like AI color visualizers and so on. But what we have to remember is no matter what they put on those labels, as far as eco-friendly or so on, is that every gallon of their paint will always contain 37% microplastics. And I don't see how any of us here in Canada can meet any of our greening goals while we continue to know that those products are contributing to 49% of all of the global microplastics crises. And of course, and I'm sure I wouldn't have to tell you too much about this, but some of the trends in the architectural paint industry certainly are sustainability. The do-it-yourself culture has, some other things that they look at for technical innovations, and health and wellness and color trends and design influences. Some of our key competitive advantages are our coverage. So if you have 1 quart of Benjamin Moore paint on the one hand at 80 square feet per quart, our product would cover 160 square feet. So not only are we reducing the cost because you're able to cover twice as much of an area with our product as our competitors, but it's also reducing the carbon footprint of the transportation of our products to your facilities. It reduces the amount of storage required for the product on certain job sites. It reduces the amount of leftover containers, and it also reduces the number of times painters need to keep going back and refilling other containers. We just completed a life cycle analysis with National Research Council that now proves that using our product creates a 92% reduction in greenhouse gases in comparison to all of our competitors in North America. But having said that about all of these great attributes, our product performs identically. That was one of the key components that we were trying to achieve from the very early days. So the usage is identical. So you can brush, roller, spray. It's generally just 1 to 2 coats. It's tintable to any color. The drying times are equal. The recoat times are equal, about 6 or 8 hours. So all of those technical aspects that you would expect with any other product, you will find with Pure Paint products as well. But again, having said that, the soap and water cleanup is now a safe method of cleaning, and none of those microplastics are being washed down the drain. And our product, of course, being plant-based and natural versus petroleum-derived and toxic ingredients, 0 microplastics, and 0 of those non-VOC, very dangerous chemicals and other toxins such as the BPAs, phthalates, and other endocrine disruptors. Some of the other major impacts that our company makes and that we help our clients with and achieving their own sustainability goals is that we are a cradle to cradle innovation. So we don't just divert from landfills, we prevent it. Our containers are never going to end up in a landfill. Our product is carbon neutral and uses responsible sourcing of renewable agricultural materials. We also eliminate environmental handling fees for our customers. So if you're purchasing directly from us, you would see a reduction in the additional fees that are charged on a typical can of latex and acrylic paint. It's completely safe exposure for indoor air quality. It's free, again, of the formaldehyde, the BPAs and phthalates, so no hormonal disruptors in these products. And it creates a safer workspace for the painters and for the people that are entering these spaces once they're painted, because painters experience a 35% increase of lung and other cancers. We currently meet and exceed all building standards. So we align with the Living Building, LEED, Well Building Standards, and Green Building Codes for both commercial and residential projects. And we exceed all government and institutional use standards. So we are safe for hospitals, schools, child care facilities, long-term care homes, public housing, and workspaces. And we're future-proofed against any regulatory changes in the future because we are already compliant in every potential way that anyone could ever come up with. Our product is certified to meet the International Safety of Toy Standards, which means it's literally safe enough for a child to put in their mouth. Not that we would recommend that, but we are also just a few months away from achieving the highest, most, I guess, recognized product certification, the Living Product Challenge, which is the platinum green certification for products globally. And of course, we meet all of the other certifications that one would expect for performance, such as Master Painters Institute, and as well as things like environmental product declarations and so on. Some of our current customers include long-term care facilities, both new and existing construction, architects, decorators, designers, do-it-yourself enthusiasts, and as I had mentioned, our paint is across thousands of beehives throughout North America. Our natural paint supports their sustainability requirements, ensuring that every space that is painted is safe for not only people, but also the planet. And our team is built on innovation, integrity, and determination with experience in product development and business management and operations, backed by some of Nova Scotia's top business minds. We are currently scaling to meet the demand with our retail partners and with other clients. And I would welcome any one of you to feel free to reach out to myself or my team member with any inquiries or questions that you have, looking for more product information. Here are just a few photographs of some of the installations we've done. This was a new construction long-term care facility here in Mahone Bay, Nova Scotia, that used our product exclusively, in which there's not a stitch of latex or acrylic paint. This was a very passionate project for them. They wanted to create healthier and safer spaces for their residents that are certainly have some respiratory sensitivities. And these are just a combination of a few different locations used by some of the architects and decorators that we deal with. And lastly, here on the right, our paint graces the walls of the number of floors at the Global Affairs headquarters on Sussex Drive in Ottawa. And we were happy to work with BGIS and the painting contractors they provided for the project that we did with EcoGAC and Global Affairs, as well as Innovation Solutions Canada, to demonstrate our product in their buildings. And I'm happy to say that was reported back to me just recently and this was a couple of years ago now, that they have peeked in on the product and it's performing wonderfully and just as it was meant to. So once again, thank you very much for the opportunity to share more about how our company is making a difference with our high performance products and how we can help you and your clients create healthier spaces and shift back to a natural paint that colors our history and supports a renewable future. Thank you.
So we're going to open it up for questions. Regina, I see there's some stuff on the chat. I'll get to that shortly, but Soren, go ahead.
Yeah, hey guys, after that lovely shout out, thanks Gina. Thought I'd say hi to the group. So Soren Antosh from Global Affairs Canada and EcoGAC. So yeah, just wanted to, I guess, support Gina's statement that we had it was a great initiative partnering with Pure Paint and the Innovative Solutions Canada program, and yeah, can certainly vouch for the fact that we're really happy with the product and continuing to explore ways to use it in buildings and also at our missions internationally if that becomes an option. So anyway, just wanted to say hi, Gina, and thanks for the nod. Always great working with you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to EcoGAC, who continues to bring innovations to us, generally the collective us, so that we can share with other tenant departments. So again, Soren, thank you again for all of the innovations you continue to bring to the team as well. Any other questions for Gina? No? Gina, I do have a question. I get asked this question. Is it low VOC? You mentioned this. When somebody asks you, is it low VOC, and you said it's not about the VOC, how do you respond?
Well, I mean, certainly volatile organic compounds are important, but if you think about it and you look at the label on a can of latex or acrylic paint, you'll never see an ingredients list. And there's a very big reason for that, because they're certainly not going to advertise that their products contain PFAS chemicals, BPAs, phthalates, and so on. So even if they're able to manipulate their petroleum-derived ingredients to have very few volatile organic compounds, which really only release during the drying process of the paint, it's really the long-term products that are on your wall forever once it's there, which contains those other very, very harmful chemicals.
Thank you. I'm going to go to the chat because I'm getting some great feedback here, and there is some really great ideas for us to help us move forward. And everybody says here, I see a strong focus on waste, and yeah, that's where we started. But I love the idea, and this is what is said in the chat. I'd love to see activities that would seek to connect people to nature. Absolutely. We are working on that. We're trying to even bring an Indigenous element to that, whether it be nature, a healing garden, etc. So we're working on those, making sure there's value for Canada, to connect people to nature as well. It's a big part of what we want to do as well. So you're going to see additional information come through on that. We want to hear from you, and maybe a workplace group that meets and gets us involved. Absolutely. So those are the green teams that either exist or don't exist. I will be working with the 50 buildings across Canada property team. I know I'm going to meet with you so that we could start to invigorate those green teams, which is, occupant driven, through the tenant departments, because we really do want to hear with you. So more to come. I will be doing some outreach with the BGIS folks on the phone through the month of May and June to really kind of get a better understanding at a building level what we can do in your building, because we heard from participants, it needs to be building specific. So how do we get you involved at a building specific level? It's something we want to improve on, and would love to see something included in this initiative to help us that feel a deep sense of eco-anxiety, feel more empowered. And that is what we heard from a lot of participants previously, the ability for you to make a difference in your building at home. So we want to give that information. We're building managers. We manage waste. We manage paint a lot. We have a lot of construction waste. How do you deal with that? There's so many topics, and I'm mentioning waste, but if you go into into the application. I got a great question from Kim Pomber, one of our communication leads about ecotourism. I just went to the Galapagos. I went with a Canadian company, a Canadian eco company, G Adventures. I'll advertise that. And what a wonderful experience. They make sure you don't take anything, you don't bring a plastic bottle. And you see where people start to influence, where your dollars matter. So there's so many ways we can make a difference. So exactly, that's the purpose of the tool, so that you feel empowered, and you can feel empowered to make BGIS, PSBC as Government of Canada make those changes, but we need to hear from you in order to make those changes. So the whole point of introducing Gina and Pure Paint was to say, hey, you can, choose to have Pure Paint added to your project. That's absolutely, something you can request. BGIS, I see some maintenance team leaders, property managers, you can make that request to have Pure Paint in your next fit up. You're painting a wall for a tenant, think about Pure Paint. Those are the areas we can influence where we purchase. So that's so important. We have some of our other sustainability leads outside the Government of Canada for other accounts, one building at a time. So it will all add up to be a significant impact. And I wish I'd known about you before I painted my upper floor, Gina. I would have ordered the paint from you. Again, I can do it at home, right? So these are the things we can do to make a difference. Let's support Gina. Hopefully you'll let us know when it's added to Canadian Tire as well, because we're really interested in knowing that, so we can go and buy it for our own purposes.
Yeah, and anyone can contact. We can ship product to our customers now. So if anyone requires paint, they can just reach out to us directly, and we'd be very happy to fulfill whatever requirements you may have.
I promise the next purchase of paint I make, I will make from you, Gina. Okay. And just to confirm, you're a woman-owned company?
Yes, we are a certified woman-owned company, and we're just a couple of weeks away from our B Corp certification as well.
So for those of you who have social procurement requirements and we have targets, think about Gina as well. And Gina will help us support targets. So Gina, you and I can talk a little, after this about what's next, but it was really to get you in front of some of our key audience members. And any other questions for Gina or myself before we wrap up? I see a lot of folks from our property team. Anything anybody wants to add? No? Okay, well, again, everyone, happy Earth Day. I'm going to try and share, I was trying to share Gina's presentation in the chat as well. And for some reason, I can't do that. Oh, well, but if anybody needs a copy of Gina's presentation, she has sent me a copy. You can also reach out to her directly. But again, happy Earth Day, make a difference. Every action counts. Everything we do, from when we put garbage in the bin, counts. When we paint a wall, it counts. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Gina, for your time today. That was very helpful in reaching the wider audience of BGIS.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks, Gina.
Thank you. Bye-bye.